When you were on the board of Delta, could you have foreseen Delta with all these international flights?
Well, I saw it, but the other members of the board didn't see it. In fact, before I became a member, I tried to get Delta to buy those Pan Am routes before Pan Am had them. So all of those routes were available in the 70s. And as Pan Am was going into decline, they could have competed for those African routes. They ended up buying Pan Am for $3 billion or so. And that's where their problem came. If they had had enough vision to get those routes without Pan Am's baggage, they would have been much better off. Fortunately, they got the routes now. And they've learned the hard way that something that if we had been working and thinking together, we could have helped them to understand. And that is that African travel, well, travel to India depends not on people for doing business and tourism, but people of Indian descent. And you look at the Indian population here, and you realize that there are people who are going to be, there are enough people in this region who want to go back and forth to India so that we can have regular flights to Mumbai. And they don't have to be white. And they don't have to be doing business. See, there are 4.5 million people came to America as slaves. But over 5 million people have come to America as students, as employees, as political refugees since 1970.
From Africa?
From Africa.
Right.
They were the second most educated group of immigrants because most of them came fleeing from oppression or coming to do graduate study. And so anybody who came to the United States in the 70s with an education is rich. See? And Nigerians send $8 billion a year back to their families in remittances through the bank and Western Union process. That's the recorded transfer of wealth. The unrecorded transfer of wealth Delta is seeing. Every one of those flights going into Lagos is loaded down with freight. What's in the freight? Television sets, little refrigerators, air conditioning units. All of that could be built in Nigeria and made available much cheaper and much more profitable. Every American company, they see Nigeria as an oil producer. But Nigeria is 150 million people, many of them educated. And while we focus on the problems and on the poverty, the smartest guys in my class in college 50 years ago were from Nigeria. So they had a better education than I had 50 years ago.
Do you think there's a special relationship between Atlanta and Nigeria?
There's a special relationship between Atlanta and everywhere. And I think two keys to it is Coca-Cola and Delta. And Coca-Cola has always reached out to more than 200 companies in the world, countries in the world. And now Delta is realizing that they too can do business all over the world. Before long, our banks are going to be understanding that business is global.